Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we are talking with Velvet Code. How are you doing?
I'm great. Spring is around the corner and I'm excited for better weather.
Yeah, it's definitely looking nice
Yeah.
outside. Like I'm in Ottawa and we're actually starting to see a little bit of grass even pop up in places.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow.
It's not bad for sure. So we're here to talk to you a bit today about a few things. We have the So Fierce Music, which is your entertainment slash education company, and you also have the You Do You Foundation. So I guess actually
Yeah.
the better way to start off is let's learn a bit more about you and how you got into music.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Velvet Code, founder of So Fierce Music and the You Do You Foundation. I started making music and being a musician, an artist, oh gosh, quite a long time ago. I'll be aging myself here by saying this, but about 1999, I think, is when I started making some music
Okay.
and pursuing a career as an artist. I moved to New York City, and that's where Velvet Code began. We were originally a band, and then I became a solo artist under the name Velvet Code. And over time, though, I realized that there was more to creating music and sharing my voice with the world. There was more to it than about it being about myself. So, I decided to create something that would help others. So Fierce Music was created during the pandemic. I really just wanted to make some music for a few drag artists that I knew and have some fun during the pandemic. And then I realized what a great need there was for this. There are so many artists in the 2S LGBTQ plus community that have been marginalized and discriminated against and are not given the opportunities that others have. So my platform strives to give them that opportunity.
And I looked through your catalog on Spotify there, and a lot of your music has like the inclusivities and things like that to kind of bring everyone together, which definitely speaks to helping get the word out there for the LGBTQ plus. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with all the vernaculars for some of those.
It's different in different countries and different areas. I say 2S LGBTQ plus because we always try and keep the 2S at the beginning, two spirit.
Hmm.
But it's different for everybody. So don't feel bad about it.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I definitely respect it all, so I just try to make sure I could do the best I can. Anyways.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And I realized during these last 3 years of working with artists via So Fierce Music that queer music is a genre. It has its own distinct lyrics, sound, and message, and that constitutes it being a genre, in my opinion. And it goes beyond trying to categorize an artist. So many artists have been put into a certain box and said you're a pop artist, you're a hip hop artist, you're a country artist, and really at the end of the day, music is about the message and about the lyrics and about the style. I truly believe that queer music is its own genre, and that's what I'm trying to help create.
Yeah, it definitely tells a story of its own, and music, that is what music does, is it tells a story. So it fits the narrative of its own genre in that sense because it tells its own story,
Yeah,
which is
I
yeah, which is
totally
great.
agree.
Now, when you were creating the company, the So Fierce Music, did you have a lot of kind of difficulties trying to put that together? How did that whole process come about?
So from the production side of things, I've always known how to, produce music. Or I shouldn't say I've always known. I've learned to understand how to make music over the years. Um, so, creating the company, though, it takes a lot of organization and a lot of, I got a lot of great advice from people that I've known in the industry that have helped me throughout my career. And I think the goal is to pass that on now. So, taking all my knowledge, making sure that everything's structured properly, and in a different way too. Most labels these days, they sign an artist's song or an artist in general, and then basically put them on a distribution platform, whoever their partner is. Our partner is the Orchard / Sony Music Entertainment. And don't most companies don't most record companies don't put the effort and time and money into promoting the artists, and that's where we're different. We try and give them a kickstart. Now, we're not a rich company, so we have a certain budget that we can work with per artist, and our goal really is to take an artist from here and and elevate them to the next level, but and see what happens, and keep building on each single. So we never try, we don't overpromise and say, you're going to have a single and it's going to go viral. It might, but probably not in these algorithm years, days that we're living in. So our goal really is to elevate the artists, give them a chance to express themselves, give them a chance to keep things going and get some bookings and all that. So that's our approach when we're trying to help an artist with their release.
Now, how do you balance like your music with also working with the company? Really, like two different kind of avenues going on.
Not so much anymore, because I've retired from being an artist myself.
Okay.
In my opinion, who knows? I might come out with a song here or there, but generally, I'm more interested in producing the artists on the label. And we do have artists that produce their own music and release it through our label. But we like to be involved in the process as well. So if we can, if the artist, a lot of the artists that we work with, it's their first single, it's their first time to in the recording studio. So we like to do as much as we can to help them. So when you say our balancing, I guess I've given up my own music career, but I've replaced it with producing and helping the artists on the label as much as I can.
So you're still helping create music in a way of getting that out there in the world.
Absolutely. I enjoy that more than anything. Being in the studio and just zoning out and creating something special for the artist based on their vision. We do a lot of prep before we go in the studio to program a song or create music. Sometimes an artist will come with lyrics and melody already to us. And in some cases, we start from scratch, where I create a track and the artist writes with the track. So
now when you're kind of, do you recruit artists or they come to you? Like how do you pick and choose who you're going to work with?
At first we were out there trying to recruit artists and talk to some of the queens that we knew in Toronto, for example. But over time it's become the other way around. Now we're getting a lot of artists coming to us saying, hey, we heard what you did with this artist and we like what you're doing. Can we work together? So we're getting a lot of that too. Okay. So it's a combination. I think we are trying to branch out into different areas now. We've done a lot of productions for drag recording artists, drag queens, and we're trying to sign more drag kings, more non-binary artists, and artists, other types of queer artists within the community. So that's our goal, really, is to be as inclusive and as widespread across the community as we can.
For sure. And in your opinion, what are some of the pressing issues that the LGBTQ plus community faces today when it comes to music?
Right now, there's a huge problem happening in the US that's starting to make its way up north with drag. They're banning drag in public places all across the United States, in different states. There are a number of other bans happening when it comes to gender identity and education, and I think that's just the beginning of what could happen, and it's scary. It is. I know that some people are saying it's a little bit of trying to distract us from the real problem, but nonetheless, this is something that is affecting artists all around the United States, and now in Canada as well. In Calgary, recently there was a show that was canceled at a public library by the library because of all the protesting that was happening. So make no mistake about it, this is something that is very serious and needs to be addressed. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, who do we have in office, and who, we've got to vote these people out, the ones that are trying to limit our
Mhm.
ability to express ourselves.
Yeah, because what's the harm in expressing yourself? It's not hurting anyone else, really.
I know. And to be honest, we've all been watching drag for many years. Can you name one person that hasn't watched Mrs. Doubtfire?
Exactly.
Like,
And
yeah, people are enjoying drag when it serves their purpose, right? When it meets their needs. But when it comes to when they feel threatened though in some way, look out.
Yeah, I know I watch RuPaul's Drag Race with my wife all the time. She sits and I have to ask questions and like who's this and what's this, and she loves telling me everything about it. So it's an
Yeah,
experience and it's fun and it's not hurting anybody. So what's the big deal?
no, it's entertainment. It's
Hmm.
entertainment. And I mean, this, if this follows through and grows to being a major, continues to be a major problem, you could start seeing bans on certain costumes and makeup in movies and film and TV, and it can grow to something absolutely horrific, and will start to be controlled in many other ways after that happens.
Yeah, 100%. So the how does the You Do You Foundation come into play with something like this?
So UDU Foundation was their our main goal is to help underprivileged artists that struggle with mental health, addiction, financial struggles, artists that need, because we've all went through problems, and we all know that music helps us, and some people, they listen to music and that helps them, but for certain artists that are musicians, music artists, they need to be making music and creating music to help them work through their recovery. And that's what the UDU Foundation is based off of, that mandate. So our goal is to find ways to mentor these artists, to create a platform for them, when they can't do it themselves. So it's sort of taking it a step further from so fierce. We're helping artists that are already marginalized and discriminated against. However, the UDU Foundation is specifically focused on those that just cannot physically make the music because of their struggles. So we
Hmm.
hope to help. Right now we actually received a Canada Arts Council grant to help 4 artists this year. We hope to continue to be able to help artists all around Canada in the next couple of years.
No, that's great. And do you guys also work with like branding and stuff with them to kind of help them make a name for themselves in a sense?
Yes, yes. So we create the music, and we will then release the music through So Fierce. It's all funded by the grants and the donations that we receive. The artist, hopefully can not only help, create the art and recover, work through the recovery by creating the art, but also enjoy the benefits of being, released, and hopefully have some success.
Hmm. And I imagine probably going through COVID and everything like that had a lot of impact on a lot of people with mental health and things like that. Is that something that you're seeing a lot of now when everyone's starting to come out of COVID and having created music and everything like that?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because COVID, was had some things that happened. Some good things happened through COVID for artists, and some bad things happened. So in some cases, artists found new ways to get creative. They were able to make music with whatever they had. It's like kind of like going back to the back to basics. This is what you have. You've got a guitar. Let's make some music on a voice memo on your phone. Um, and in some cases, artists, it hurt them because they needed to be in the studio to make music. So now, coming out of COVID, everybody is excited to go out there and perform again. I know that we're super excited. Like last year, we had our first major event that we held. It was called A Fierce and Fabulous Affair. This year, we're holding it at El Macombo. It is called Fierce and Fabulous Affair Pride Ball.
Okay.
and we and it's again it's providing a platform for these artists to perform and to raise money for the UDU Foundation and Rainbow Railroad. So we're really excited about that. We've got a great cast of artists that are going to be performing, including winners of Canada's Drag Race. So
Okay.
lots of exciting things. Yeah.
I'll definitely make sure to get some information so we can put it in description and people can get a little bit more information about that when we put the video up.
Yeah.
Now,
Great.
what's your opinion on the music scene now? We all just came out of COVID. Everyone is touring and going crazy with putting music out. How do you see things looking right now?
You know, of the opinion that music shouldn't be judged. Music is uh, it's its own creative form and a way that artists are expressing themselves. I'm not saying I like everything.
Yeah.
I don't like every kind of music. In fact, I probably don't like most music. I tend to like a certain kind of music. That's my style, my own personal preference. But I keep that
Mm-hmm.
to myself. Um, but I feel that it's much easier now for artists to make music. They have access to more tools, especially with software and you can basically do anything you need to do at home. I create most of my music from my home studio. I then go somewhere else to mix it and master it because of the sound and acoustics.
Mm-hmm.
And vocals are never recorded in my home studio here, but
Yeah.
this is where I write. This is where I write and create, and I think as long as the artist puts the time and effort into it and works hard, they can create anything they want, right?
Yeah, for sure. And with everyone coming out and doing live shows now, it makes for your creative expression to be that much more large and boisterous and fun for everybody.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Yeah,
know
I
my
think I think now also.
oh,
Sorry,
sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that now it's kind of equally about this the the amount of good production, the quality of the music. It's a balance between the quality of the music and the quality of the show, right? So the live show has to be spectacular. It has to be on point. It has to be rehearsed, and it really has to. If you're going to be asking a lot of people are, you know, always complaining about the prices of tickets, but if you're going to be asking the artists, or sorry, the fans to pay, a large amount of money to come to a show, you better put on a good show. So
Mm-hmm.
I always stress to my artists, it's great that we've made some great music together. Now get out there and perform. I don't care where you're performing. Perform everywhere and anywhere just to get the practice, and then grow from that, and then create your own show that you can take to a club, that you can take to a venue and say, this is what my show is.
Mm-hmm.
Can you book me? So
Yeah,
yeah.
we like I work with a booking company here in Ottawa, and I've been part of a lot of different shows, and you can see
Mhm.
who puts the work in to practice to make their show something
Yeah.
that's going to be enjoyable. So it's definitely a little bit harder out there now because there's so many people doing live shows. Everyone's trying to get out there and get their stuff done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ottawa is the home of Isis Couture, winner of season 2 of Drag Race, who
Mm-hmm.
was who we produced and is on the label. Yeah, she's one of our fan favorites.
Nice. And I'm sure I've heard the name, to be honest. I can't remember half the names I hear sometimes.
That's okay.
I find it interesting. Like I love watching the drag race, and it's a different thing for me coming from looking at that outside and not being involved in the community really, and then going, oh, okay, well, looking just what they do and the art that they put into themselves, and it's crazy to see some of the makeup jobs that they're doing on their faces, and I'm like, I wish I could do things like that sometimes.
Well, they do have an episode where they can bring you in and have you do
Yeah,
that.
I've seen those, and I think I'd be pretty fabulous in a nice dress or something like that. I do pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. These days you wouldn't even have to shave your beard because some drag artists keep their beards. So, you know.
My wife would kill me if I shaved it, so I'd have to fight her for that. So I do have a couple questions I like to ask first timers with hidden beats that gets a little bit more insight to who you are and gives people an idea of your creative mind. First one for me is,
Sure.
what's something on a go-to playlist that you're listening to that people wouldn't expect that you're listening to?
The Flying Pickets, Only
Okay.
You.
Okay.
I was listening to that this morning. It was actually my dad's favorite song, and I heard it in the background of my partner. It was I was on the phone, and I heard it in the background at a cafe, and I'm like, oh wow! So I put that on a playlist this morning. So it's actually a cover. It's a a cappella cover of "Only You" by Yaz. If you
Okay.
remember Yaz,
I do
the old
remember the
days
name.
from the
Yeah.
80s. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a nice one.
yeah, yeah. That's. I mean, I have. I could probably name a dozen '80s songs that are on a playlist right now, but that one just really hits home right now for me.
Yeah, I like to ask that question because it gives me a chance to bolster my playlist a bit. I get new inspirations and new songs from people.
Yeah, yeah.
So another question's a little bit deeper, and you've probably gone through a fair bit of interviews and things like that in the past. What's something that you think should be asked more during an interview that's not asked enough?
What should be asked more? Um, I think expanding on a question. So, people always ask what if there's one thing you can tell artists. I think getting more specific. I get a lot of questions. I get this question very often. What does it take to make it in the music industry?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, honestly, it's a simple answer. It's hard work and focus. It's really that. You need to know what you want. You need to know who you are, who you want to be, and then take that knowledge and work hard and focus and work harder than everyone else, because if you don't work hard, it's not coming to you. Nobody's handing you anything on a silver platter.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to work hard for it, then you don't deserve it. So I always say that to artists: is you need to work hard, you need to be focused.
Yeah, I always heard, I think it was even my grandfather always used to say, if you're not the hardest working person in the room, then you're not doing it.
Yeah, yeah. I know some people can get away with it a little bit. They can work, but at the end of the day, it's going to catch up to you. And when the time comes, it'll catch up, and you won't even see it coming. So if you work hard and you have that work ethic, I was brought up in a world where I had to like I had to train and work hard for everything. And it wasn't that I had to work harder because I wasn't good enough or anything. It's just that I learned how to work harder, whether it was playing volleyball or learning the piano or doing something at school. I would always try and work harder, earlier, faster, and then that paid off. That paid off for me. And because of that, now that's how I live my life. I wake up, I go to the gym. I'm right to the studio. I'm doing work. I'm constantly doing so. I'm working from 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. Right.
Sounds a lot like myself. I try to keep busy, and I'm always working on something, because if you're not
Mm-hmm.
doing it today, it's not going to get done tomorrow if you're going to keep on putting it off.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And if it's not fun, done. It
yeah.
needs to be fun, though, right? It needs to be fun.
And one of my things I've always kind of lived by too is, no matter what you're doing, do your best at it until you don't want to do it anymore, and then stop doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Why spend your life doing something that you absolutely don't like to do? Makes no sense to me, right? You find something you love, you do it for as long as you love it. Then if maybe you find something else, right? And if you don't find something else, you will, hopefully you'll find something else
There's
eventually.
always
But
something else.
yeah, there's always something you love and want to do more of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, yeah, definitely my motto in life.
Mm-hmm.
That and never lose childish innocence. Always
Yeah,
enjoy everything and be a child and everything and play, play as much as you work.
my wife hates that I'm like that sometimes. I like to be goofy and I like to have fun. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, so that topic leads into my final topic. And why do you do music? Why do you keep pursuing this career path?
Well, music saved me as a kid. You know, I grew up. I grew up in a great household, but I was in the closet and very sad. And so music was my way of drowning my sorrows out. And it just, there were countless times I heard a song come on and it kind of saved my life. And so so I decided to pursue music for that reason as an artist, because I just thought, well, I have a lot of emotion. I want to be able to share that. I have a lot to say. I want to share that. But now the reason I do music is to pass all that on. It's my way of teaching and helping others, so that they can pass on the message. They can do the things that they love and they need to do for themselves. So, I think music is a universal language. It's a musical. Music is the universal language of love, and if we can spread that love, within our, outside of our community, we're trying to spread it within our community as well, but outside of our community, and just show the world that music is love, then, and that we are all equal in that way, then I think I've done a good job in my life.
I mean, I'd like to think so. That sounds like a pretty good way to look at things for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any kind of final notes you'd leave to people in the community that, be closeted or might not know a direction to go to, maybe not necessarily musically, but just something from your experience that you'd like to leave as a final note for the community?
Yeah, within our community, I see a lot of discrimination even within our community. Drag isn't just for drag race and for the tip, what you'd see typically on Drag Race for queens in the community. It's also alternative drag and non-binary artists and drag kings and AFAB queens. They're what we would like to do as an organization, different kinds of queer. There's all different kinds of artists in our community, and so by doing that, we decided to launch the our first, and I think Toronto's first, official and real alternative pride. So we're launching an alternative pride party rave on June 3rd at Rec Room. So we're doing that because we want to open up the community to different types of drag and different types of queer art. Um, so I think, sorry about that. So I think it's important that if you are struggling with your own identity, that there is a place for you to come and socialize, and it's at parties like that. And there is a community within our village on Church Street that does support the alternative pride community, and that's what we'd like to strive to do this year.
That's perfect. And I actually have some and try to see if I can get somebody to actually cover the first party and see and get some more eyes on it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an amazing party. We're bringing in queens from Dragula. We're bringing in a number of local kings and queens and non-binary artists within our community, local artists. It's just going to be one heck of a party. And then we're bringing in a DJ that's going to be it's going to be spinning techno and rave music. So it's just going to be something out of this world. Great way to kick off Pride.
Yeah, exactly. So where can everybody find you on our of this?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Velvet Code Official. You can also find me on Twitter, Velvet Code Music, and Facebook, Velvet Code Official. So those are the three main. I do have a TikTok, but I'm probably not going to be using it for very long, and not many people will either in Canada, I think.
That's the way it's going. Yeah.
It seems like it's. I'm not bothering with it anymore.
Yeah. Well, it was great having a conversation with you, and I definitely learned a lot about the foundation and about Sophier's music. And we're going to make sure to link everything in the description so people can get a little bit more information from the website and everything involved with it. And I definitely hope we'll have another conversation again at some point because this was fun.
Yeah, yeah, this was great. I really appreciate you having me here today, and I look forward to seeing you at the events.
Awesome. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll sign off and go from there.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.